Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg, and this is
Road Warrior Strange, and this is
doesn't have a fancy mic, Muir.
Oh, I don't have it yet.
How are you guys doing?
Sleepy. Didn't sleep
Existing.
well, boys. Muir continues the internal depression that is his life. What about you, Morg? You cheerful?
I'm okay. I just watched the new Mortal Kombat movie, which is interesting.
Oh, I've been challenged already. Jesus.
Well, the thing is, I enjoy things even if they're generally shit. There's only like 2 movies in the world that I genuinely hate.
Whereas I am a film snob, but I can appreciate a good shit movie. The only problem is I fucking grew up on Mortal Kombat. I've got comics, I've watched all the original films, I had them, I saw them at the cinema. I played every game up until about Deception or the one after Deception, where I was like, no, I've got to give this up now. You've completed it with every character on the hardest difficulty and pulled off Frost's 36-hit combo in a fight. It's too dangerous. I'm not allowed to play 1v1 fighters. Jay banned me.
So in that case, that leads on quite nicely. This might be the first time you've listened to our podcast, and as such, you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we give our reviews for Dynamite, Dark, BTE, the matches in Dynamite, not Dark, sorry, Elevation, overall. And Mr. Strange is now going to explain that tier list with a challenge I've just laid him, which was to do it with Mortal Kombat characters. Off you go.
Motherfucker, not only have I done it, I've got 2 per entry. So, tier list, you know it. We go through letters. We say if it's good or bad. We start off with our lowest rank, which is a D. D is a bad match. Waste my time. Waste your match, your time. You don't care. I don't care. And they shall feel bad. Just like the character Striker, as in Mortal Kombat 3, who is literally just a man with a gun. And Mocap, who was a guy in a mocap suit who was added as a secret character in Mortal Kombat 3, who literally served no fucking purpose whatsoever. D-rank matches, we don't want it. Nobody picks Striker as their favorite character, even if he's the only man smart enough to bring a gun to a fist fight. Anyway, from there, we rock into a C-rank match. This is what we come to expect from a good match. Bit of story, good entertainment, nothing too bad in the ring. Yeah, sure, it might not have all of your attention, but you liked it. It was good. Like pretty much the first 2 staples of Mortal Kombat, they are some people's favourite characters. It's Liu Kang and Johnny Cage. The mid-rangers, the fighters, Liu Kang gets the primary story, Johnny's got the later story in Mortal Kombat 10 and onwards. There's enough there, but very, very few people get overly excited by those characters, shall we say. From there, we rock into a B-rank match, or it's a +1 match as we know it. It's got story, it's got chopper and wrestling. I don't see too many botches. It's good. It's pretty damn good, but it's not really, really good. It's Kenshi and it's Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat Deception, respectively. One of them is a blind swordsman containing 1 million souls from Ermac. The other one's just Liu Kang, but better with a spinny hat. The first entrant from that temple. That's what I want. A bit of story, a bit more grace, and a bit more fucking style. From there, we rock into a rank match. It's real good. It's should be the best thing of the night. Not as in there shouldn't be better, but we should have an A on each show. Strong story, cool moves. It's good. I don't get caught up on anything in the ring. It drives things onwards. Clearly, like both from Mortal Kombat 1, though one of them not becoming a player character until Mortal Kombat 2, Raiden and Shang Tsung, the host of the tournament, who then goes on a vengeance arc, a redemption arc, and all manner of shit, and the God of Thunder himself. We all love that one mate who always played Raiden, down, up to teleport, back, forward to do the little dive thing, a little bit of lightning bolts. People fucking love those characters. Often people's favorites from their childhood. An A-rank match, an A-rank fighter. And then the S rank, the top of our tier. Holy shit, this is the experience. It's an artistic masterpiece of combat opera. My children will tell tales of this. You've got...
Your line dies with you.
This rank matches should be phenomenal. Great fucking stuff we've never seen in the ring before. Phenomenal moves, great pacing, good story. It's cinema grade shit, and you loved every minute. And of course, that has to go down to the full story between the Shinrai Ryo and the Lin Kuei. of Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. The story's gone on from the first one. It peaks in the middle. One of them becomes a god. The other one's replaced by his brother. He goes back again, gets some vengeance. He has another enemy. It's the fucking deepest epic in Mortal Kombat. Fuck that Liu Kang storyline. Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And I couldn't really separate them because they were basically the same character in the first one, but Scorpion was cooler because he was a ghost. So that's it. D, it's a shitty match. It's a man in a mocap suit. C, it's a good match. You're pleased with it. It's a average Chinese martial artist. B, it's a +1 match. It's that little bit better. It's a blind fucking swordsman. A, it's fucking awesome and you loved it. It's the god of fucking thunder. And S, holy shit, this was awesome. It's a ninja in a primary color. There we go. It's all coming back to me, my childhood Mortal Kombat obsession.
Excellent. Moving on from there, time for the news. And we've got a couple of bits this week. And Mr. Strange, do you want to lead off with the first one? Is a spoiler, so you skip ahead if you don't want to know about results. Over to you, Mr. Strange.
Here's your new Impact World Champion, Kenny Omega. He defeated... You watched the match, didn't you, Muir?
Yeah, Rich Swan.
Oh, poor Rich Swan. Kenny Omega now is the Impact top champion, the AAA top champion, the AEW top champion, and also holds another TNA belt, as Nick reminded us at the start of this.
No, the TNA belt is united. It's like fucking one belt, but they still carry two belts around.
This was like
bollocks.
This was like when Bryan and when Jericho united the belts. They spent a while carrying two belts around. I wonder if they'll use Kenny as the excuse to make it one belt.
Maybe.
One belt. Maybe we're going to get a Super World Indie,
Indie shitter belt. Just...
Yeah, an indie shitter belt. I mean, they're not indie shitter companies. You know, TNA Impact has been going for fucking 20 odd years now. AEW has got Big Time Shad. AAA is the biggest promotion in Mexico.
Yeah.
But an indie shitter belt, you're not wrong, guy. Yeah, interesting stuff.
It wasn't a great match, but
that was going to be my next question. Was it worth watching?
No.
Was it LOL TNA?
Not to be nasty, but Rich Swann does not perform up to the standard you would expect from this match.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mac was there though, so that was kind of cool.
Gallows showed up.
Yeah, Gallows was at the end. So I had some fun. Look at him go.
So staying on Kenny Omega, other piece of news. I've only found this one out just now, so this is strange. Will Ospreay has been calling people out since he won the New Japan belt.
He has. The Empire, as his stable is called, on the rise. Will Ospreay himself, the big heel that he is, has in fact, in a tweet or of some such, into my social media here, he was called out and pointed out that Kenny was collecting belts, and he just responded with, "He knows where I am."
If he wants that belt, Ospreay, don't lie. It's fucking hideous.
Yeah, he just wants Kenny to go back to New Japan and go, please take it.
He's had this belt. He can't go to New Japan. Fucking Ibushi's waiting there.
Do you know what? I think this is a theme, because the other person that Will Ospreay has called out, interestingly, CM Punk. And
Phil.
Punk has not said no. He's just said, let's see if you've still got the belt in 6 months, which I think is a clever way for Will Ospreay to go, well, I'm keeping that belt for 6 months because New Japan are not going to turn down that chance.
It's definitely a big money move. I don't know how much it'll go over with the Japanese audience compared to the American audience. Obviously, it's fucking huge money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting down CM Punk. It's just more that Japan has been... Japanese wrestling fans like Japanese wrestling, but I'd give him a victory, probably.
Punk or Ospreay, because I expect Punk to put Ospreay over, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd mix, but in all honesty, just bums on seats. It's worth them taking that fucking risk, isn't it? If I had any amount of chance to get CM Punk, and I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan, not because I actively dislike him, just because I don't know him that well, but I know enough of him that if I could get CM Punk for any amount of money to come and do a show, I'd be like, oh, there you go, whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Get all those smarks in the seats.
Selling out our local bingo hall.
Yes, mate. I'm gonna sell out Coventry Town Hall.
wrestling Nick Muir in the final.
CM Punk versus Miserable Mule.
Better go over. I'm not.
two miserable bastards against each other.
Well, I'm less jaded about this business than Punk. You leave me alone. I may be miserable, but I'm not that miserable.
Yeah, no.
Can we have Bret Hart as well? So we have the three most miserable people in wrestling.
No one's as much of a mark for themselves as Bret Hart is. Jesus. We can have a Match Strange Bitches about Bret Hart section at some point. How does that sound? I've watched a lot of interviews with that man, and I don't like him. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
moving on.
I don't like you, Bret Hart.
So, time for our reviews, and as always, as I always say now, we are not. Yeah, it is in a moment. You've got a second. We're currently not reviewing Dark because we are on protest. One of us has watched Dark briefly, just to give you a quick rundown. All right. Had a couple of promos on it.
That's good news.
Anything? What's Morg's recommends?
The promo that's very silly, and then watch Dynamite. Awesome. There's a Nemeth, Drake, and a Benoni promo that's very silly. It's pure mid-card silliness, but
good.
Yeah, that's what those three need to be doing. So
exactly, they're not going to be top of the card, so let them have fun with it.
So, moving straight on, over to you, Mr. Muir, for BTE or Being the Elite.
Right, this started with, these shoes are definitely valuable. For around 40 years, they went on about these fucking shoes.
Oh, yeah, the weird fucking thing that they seem to have with trainers in AEW.
They love their trainers. There's some fancy make of trainer. This is me boomering about this, but
this is rich white people things. We can skip the shoes.
Okay, then we had a recap of Dynamite from what happened with the Hangman and Dark Order. Then we find out that Silver needs at least 5 spring rolls a day to heal his shoulder.
I mean, that's a good healing routine.
So they've run out of meat, so the only option is to eat 5 stick. But then they start arguing because something about Uno's dad didn't come back after he was meant to go to the shops to get meat. So,
oh god, that's right.
So
then it went on. Penis.
Then it went on to 10, who said that his dad only gives him drugs and no meat. So thankfully, Colt orders from Uber Eats some meat for them, like 50 pounds of meat or something ludicrous.
I think Colt's getting his comeback because he's had a couple of matches now as well. It's nice to see him as sort of like dad of the Dark Order, as it were.
Well, he is officially, I believe he's officially dad of the Dark Order now, because that was, I think, the episode where they finally just nailed it down that Colt is now their dad.
Yeah.
My only criticism, they didn't have a female wrestler hiding in the Anna spot, and I really wish...
They should have just kept that continuity up of just some random lass.
Do you know what? I would have loved it if they'd have been going on about where Hangman is, and they'd had the camera differently, panned around, and Hangman was sitting in that place.
Hangman's not powerful enough to sit there.
But that would have just, added that little bit. They can't see the person sitting there until last minute or what have you.
Yeah.
Going to be a little bit controversial now.
Yep.
Could we do with a little bit less Dark Order?
We could do with a lot.
It does seem like they're struggling for some of their jokes now. As much as I love them, and I think they're great guys, and they are always humorous, give them a break. It's hard to come up with a comedy sketch
every week. Yeah, just leave them be. So then we had, Bilbo Baggins sign on the door for Brandon to be lured in. Then Statlander uses a force choke on him, because Statlander somehow has force choke now, which...
He's an alien. It makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Then the best friends go back to killing Brandon, because Brandon's obviously asked them for a skit, and they're so lazy they'd rather kill a man than do it. So,
Boys are back in town. Sorry, I'm excited.
Then they agree to do a mailbag, which basically just turns into High Spot's bollocks, I put That's my note.
God, I miss their old show. They said the boys are back in town, which is what used to play whenever their series got put back on. So I was just excited. I love them.
So they went through a few questions, and it was, funny enough. I enjoyed the best friends, so I'm not going to complain about that. Then we had Ryzen running through the halls trying to hide his boner, which was I enjoyed, but I especially like Conte's look at him of disgust. I thought she did a great job there. That was great. Then we had the Elite doing a meet and greet, which was kind of nice to see.
Heels. We're definitely heels.
I liked that they they played that up.
Yeah. And then I like I don't remember which one of the Young Bucks was. They just do the fucking Hogan thing and go, "Want some hand sand, brother?" Which made me fucking laugh. And then to round it off, we had a Brandon and the Bucks bit about them changing. And the best line from this bit, "Your wife made our gear. You knew what we would look like." And stuff like that.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
You wanted us to be mean.
Yeah. Not this mean. And then they just go on bullying him for ages. But the whole joke of it at the end was, I already did all those things.
It does look like he's injured because he said he had his orbital
smash. Yeah.
And he had one of those face masks on a Dynamite backstage bit where he was a cameraman. God damn it, Penta, be careful.
Yeah.
Come for me.
Overall score?
I think it was a solid C, this one. I don't think it was anything higher. It was a lot of recapping, but it's, the Elite have got a long storyline on at the moment, so it kind of needs recapping on their show. So, I think it's good enough. Solid C.
It was a Liu Kang of a show.
Yeah.
Liu Kang of a show.
Yeah, I'd go with that. So, are you ready, Mr. Strange?
Go for a nap, boys. Wake me up when it's over.
Yeah.
Hi there. I'd like to welcome you to a section we like to call Hello Dark Elevation, my old friend. We've always called it that, obviously, where I review Dark Elevation with my opening note of just fucking kill me, apparently. Only an hour 42 this morning, you'll be glad to know, boys, of my time. First match is Hangman versus no entrant Spencer Slade, who I've never heard of. He's got wrestling headgear on. Was like, oh no, that's your gimmick. Then Hangman just annihilated him. Like, there are no additional notes. Then straight into Britt versus no entrance Tesha Price. Tesha got some moves in. Then it went back in. She got a little bit more of an offense, and then she lost, obviously. Going to be a lot of first name in this list wins.
Cool.
Tag match next, Jurassic Express versus No Intro Lion and someone black. It wasn't Baron Black, it was something else black, a new jobber, shall we say. We actually got some other offense from the other team until Dean got in the ring, a couple of comedy indie spots, and it was over. The Lion one holds a steak in his mouth because he's like a beast. He's got a very indie gimmick, and Jungle Boy knows how to play with it. It's skippable.
Cool.
TH2 took on Morales and Montoya. No intros for them again. Some Jack Evans comedy bits. They dismantled Morales for a little bit. Bit of a hot tag for Montoya to give him some offense, but then Angelico did his Navarra death roll and just fucking took him out.
Cool.
Interview with Big was the Big Show. Paul White was the Acclaim this time. They did do that little shade of inspirational because they've got to have that in everyone where Anthony Bowens, explained how he's one of the first big gay wrestlers who's very out, and then they just shit talked them and talked about themselves. Also, Anthony Bowens is injured, and that's why Max Caster's had a bunch of indie stuff. Long, but all right. Cage and Starks, square angry Cage. Brian.
Yeah.
And Starks took on Rockwell and Magnum. No intros for them. But one of them looked like an Aussie woodsman, and I fucking loved it, Roxwell. And they called him the Adventurer.
It's a great gimmick.
Yeah, they got a bit of offense in. Stark and Cage had some disagreements, but then sort of got back on the same page and were doing comedy friend things, like Cage invited Starks into the ring and he did a proper Pikachu shock face. It was fun. Still infinitely skippable,
Cool.
Baron took on Sky Blue. No entrance for Sky Blue. I don't even know if she's been on the show before. She did get some offense. She did get some offense in though, and did some fear faces and stuff, which was pretty good. Probably the most offense anybody got in in the entire thing, if I'm honest, up to this point. And then it was over with the graveyard drive, thingy drive.
Is it Sedimentary?
Zach was telling us about this because apparently it's the same name as a My Chemical Romance
song. Whatever.
I'm never going to fucking know that.
No.
Orange Cassidy took on Prince Charming, Prince Kai. No intro for him. He gave Prince Kai to give a piece of paper with his full intro for Justin Roberts to read, and that made me laugh. But then Orange Cassidy just beach breaked him and one-shotted him, and it was over. Hooray!
Cool.
Now, in the middle, there is no elevation in this match, don't get me wrong, but it's actually a match. We have Private Party versus Reynolds and Colt, the Dark Order. Yeah. So, not elevating, really, but, everybody looked good. Colt and Reynolds did their stuff, some comedy spots. Yeah, Matt Hardy did some cheating. Reynolds ate a bit of shit. Colt shenanigans that we like.
Sweet.
Yeah. Fine. Would have been a fine match on Dynamite. Just a passing C match, good filler.
Yeah.
Rosa comes out afterwards to take on Shauna Reed. Rosa's got new greenier, bluey face paint and more Healy clothes, shall we say, but she still comes out I know, sorry, facey clothes, not Healy clothes. Some actual wrestling, but that's what we expect from Rosa. Rosa is wrestling you in that ring, whether you want to or not.
Yes.
Shauna largely got her ass kicked, but she seemed all right. She did get some solid offense in. Actually, a little bit of elevation. Lost my temper. Rosa did her Thunder Driver or whatever it is.
Thunder Driver?
And Tony Schiavone called it a package pile driver. And I was like, oh no. Tony Schiavone gets a lot wrong in this fucking episode, mate. It's time for him to go to bed. What happened next? The best friends took on Sackett and Backlund. Just annihilated them. Not even worth a match. They looked happy though. Probably my favourite thing of this Dark Elevation was up next. Taylor Hirsch and Rio are a tag team, or came out, and Hirsch came out with some of Rio's fucking sunglasses on.
Beautiful.
Against Nyla and Maddie Renkowski.
They
got an intro. Yeah, Maddie Renkowski's back. Vicky came out screaming first about some stuff. She announced Maddie Renkowski, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie got some character work in. Like, she kept trying to tag in to get the win and stuff over Nyla and things. Solid wrestling. Rio's just the best, and she makes other wrestlers better. Like, Nyla was doing a lot more comedy facial expressions. Maddie was into it. Layla didn't...
Cool.
Yeah, they went full Japanese on this. Layla didn't get to do much, but she did get the win by submission on Maddie Renkowski. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I think it elevated Maddie. I don't think Hirsch really needs elevation, but she does need some wins because wins and losses matter. Austin Gunn took on, as Tony Schiavone called him, Eric Solo, or Aaron Solo as his actual name is. Thanks, Tony Schiavone. This is what elevation is. Toby Schiavone.
Oh, my favourite.
This, for me, is actually what elevation is for. We know Austin's good, but he's never really been a dynamite sort of talent. We know Solo's good, but he's mostly eaten shit.
Yes.
Nick Comoroto gets the stairs out at the start, puts them on the thing for QT to sort of lord it over the match. We get a solid, fast brawl because they're both fast, high-impact people. Nice to be show Solo as equal with Austin.
Cool.
Then Austin wins with a quick draw out of nowhere, but I thought we would get a Solo win to build this, but more on that in a second. But yeah, good match. Solo was elevated. I saw him on the same tier as Austin Gunn now.
Good.
All Ego, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky took on Carly Bravo and someone whose surname is Alexander that I didn't write down.
Sweet. I wonder who's winning.
Fine, there was some counter-offensive and then it was on. Right, then we get the lead into Dynamite. Austin Gunn was doing a promo. He sounded sad, like he wanted to cry because, they've been betrayed and he was really close to QT, my family, that sort of thing. Then Billy comes out with big dad energy to tell him it's all right and gives him like a fucking hug. QT shows up and he's like, I want to speak to him. This is nothing to do with you, blah, blah, blah. And Billy's like, no, suck a dick. Then QT smacks him, leading into what we see on Dynamite. Actually, not bad after the match we had, which is why I didn't mind Austin winning so much because it actually built what we get later.
Yeah. Cool.
And the final match, the Side Owls and Danny Limelight versus Kenny, Michael Nakazawa, and Takashita. Takashita sadly back in Japan in DDT now, but he does want to come back, and I hope so because he's fucking great. This was a DDT match.
Of course it was. It had Nakazawa and
Kenny and
Kenny.
Nakazawa had their headsets on to talk to each other via the match to command each other. There's a bit of back and forward tagging. It's a bit bullshit. The match really begins with Takashita versus Limelight, and they're great together. We get some fun DDT spots. We get this Takashita almost a card level moves. He still does that really high angle flapjack that I love. They kept trying to tell Takashita to be more of a heel. So when Kenny slammed one of them into the corner and he didn't have his foot, and they're like, "Put your foot up," and he's like, "I don't get it." You know,
He just doesn't understand healing. Amazing.
Yeah, the highlights were all Takashita versus Limelight. Those two really good together. And otherwise, just a nice fun match. Can't say it's worth going out of your way to see, but if you're bored, it's a good match to have in the background. And Takashita has obviously been elevated. He did call Takashita's huge, massive spinning Blue Thunder bomb a power bomb. Thanks, Tony. And he couldn't. And Tony also couldn't tell Matt and Mike Saldal apart. So it was an interesting dark elevation. So the highlights are definitely the final match and Rio and Layla versus Maddie and Nyla. Otherwise, completely skippable show.
Suffering from the commentators as well, by the sound of it.
Yeah, they don't have a hype man.
No, they don't have an Excalibur. And
Yeah, they don't have, or even a Taz, or
No.
we've had Jericho, but yeah, there's just no hype man in it, so it's hard for me to be driven by it. So I'd give it a low C. I didn't really hate it.
Yeah,
Matches that were good, but nah.
I get you.
I think one of the problems is you've got people like JR and Tony that have been the voice of wrestling for years,
But we don't need them anymore.
and they are the kind of what a maneuver guys. Whereas you've got people. So if I was to list off my 4 favourite recent commentators, Matt Striker,
Yep. Good. You passed.
Excalibur,
Yeah.
Mauro Ranallo, and I'm having a mental blank. The old ECW one, Joey Styles. They were my favourites because they know the names of all the moves. So
What's
when
the names
they're
of the bit of history?
and it's the actual names of the moves. So yeah, I think Big Show would have been better with Excalibur,
Yeah, no, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
and I think
Well,
that's
it
why
should have done.
Excalibur
It could
and
be
Taz
serious round.
work so well together.
It should have been Matt
The-
Striker and Gino.
To be honest, I'd have been happy with Matt Striker and the Big Show. Bring Matt Striker in, put him on
You don't know Gino, but he's the heel commentator in NJPW, and
Yeah.
he's
You're in Bullet
fantastic.
Club.
Yeah.
Where do I get my?
I know.
Where do I get my tracksuit?
I
He
know
hasn't got his tracksuit.
I know of him.
Yeah, he's
Right.
great.
So moving on.
Dynamito.
Dynamite. Open as usual, JR Schiavone Excalibur on commentary. Then Taz joins the commentary. We have a quick Ricky Starks promo. Any thoughts on it? I thought it was just all right.
Solid enough.
Solid
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, just a standard promo. Then we have Hangman versus Ricky Starks with Hook. Just realised on my notes I haven't actually put who Ricky Starks was facing. So according to my notes, it was just Ricky Starks with Hook.
Average anime protagonist. Hook.
Hangman wins by submission. Think of the match and score did you give it?
Right, boys. I'm probably going to be a bit of a letdown this week because my notes aren't very big on most matches because everything was good.
Mhm.
Nothing really took out of me. So this match, it's a good match. We have a strong start. We get some wrestling. We get a bunch of mat returns, obviously, which I'm very big on now after having watched WrestleMania. Starks had a great pin slap with the pin break with the belly slap on Hangman when he was doing a bridge. Otherwise, it was just a traditional American wrestling sort of match. It was good. We had a nice set of finisher counters up to the finish. Yeah, solid match, but I don't have a lot to say. It was just a C. It was good. I enjoyed it. The wrestling was enough. I knew why they were there, but we've had a lot of very good openers on shows recently, and I don't want to put it down. It's a good match, but it's not a great match. Over to you, boys.
don't know. I thought that this was a solid, above like match plus one match. I thought both of them did well enough. I think the story's a bit lacking coming into this. This is why the only reason I'd give it a C. But otherwise, I think it was a really nice match in the ring. I thought the limb work through the whole thing with working down his ankle a bit could have been done a tiny bit better.
That's what I expect to be a C. I want a C to be a good match. I don't think it was match plus one.
Okay.
That's
what you think.
This is interesting because in my original notes, I gave this a high C because I enjoyed it. But Muir has just pointed something out, which was he said he didn't think the storyline, but I thought the storyline actually going into this was good because it was the storyline about the two people with the big win-loss records because wins and losses count. But it was actually the story of those two. This was the chance for Ricky to knock Hangman off
the top position.
Yeah, the top position. So I'm kind of torn on my own ranking. I'm going to stick with my original, which was a high C. I really enjoyed this match. I didn't think it quite grabbed my attention as some of the B matches we've had recently. And I think that's why I can only give it a high C.
I gave it also a high C. But I was just saying that I think the match was a B, but there was no story going into it. So can't really give
maybe
it
if there was a little bit more heat between the wrestlers, I'd have been a bit more like
maybe if this story of Starks chasing Hangman's win-loss record had started last week.
I'm with you.
Then that might have worked out a bit better. Then we had a Taz promo, Team Taz beatdown on Page, Dark Order for the save. Any comments or thoughts?
Yeah, they're getting used to it now. Something happens, the Dark Order run out. Fine, let's see where it goes.
I'm interested in next week, let's just say. Right, so following on from that, we had a Penta and Alex promo. Any thoughts?
It's fine. They need a little bit more work. I think Alex needs to be a little bit more badass and mean, maybe, because he's a bit lovely, isn't he? But
like him being a dork. I kind of like him trying to be hard, but he's actually a dork.
It was better when he was at the ring. Now, I'm with you once he'd walk down to the ring, like when he was acting badass by the ring. I had a good laugh. No, I still love them together. I want to see how and where this evolves with Death Triangle.
So we had Penta with Alex Abrantes, because I actually wrote his second name down this week, versus Trent with Orange Cassidy. I'm sorry, Alex, if I've just horribly butchered your last name, but I've had to spell it phonetically. Penta wins with the package pile driver. Thoughts and scores on the match?
Fast start, lots of strikes and grapples, which I like. We get to see a swinging DDT from Trent, which as a Naito fan, I always love to see. It does have a -1 for a Canadian Destroyer, and I think
that Destroyer was awful as well.
You gotta, but otherwise solid strike slams. We get to see Penta's pump handle driver, which I love. We did have a weird rope pile drive moment, which wasn't quite cool. Alex with the lamest taunt ever of "you suck" and "your mom sucks." With you with the. He's not meant to be badass, but Trent got very angry for what was the lamest set of insults ever.
Yeah, but you don't insult Sue.
No, but it just could have been anything, just a little bit more badass. If somebody turned around, I'm very protective of my mother, who is a dangerous woman. If somebody's like, "Your mom sucks," I'd be like, "Is that the best you've got?" Come on. I've seen my mom punch a man to the floor.
I was going to say that would probably be about as dangerous as anyone would want to make that kind of comment about your mum. To be fair,
But yeah, solid match, bit of a weird finish, and I gave it a C again. I had a good time. It was enough.
I'm glad Penta got the win. I gave this a C also. I think it was very standard. I kind of hope for more from these two because they're two of my more favourite wrestlers on it in AEW. And there was still no Lucha Underground entrance for Penta, so, it's hard for me to care.
Luchadors, Mexikings.
Oh, God.
Okay. I really enjoyed this match. I had a great time. I gave it a B.
Fantastic.
This got a B from me. I really enjoyed this. I watched the whole match. I wasn't distracted at all from it.
Awesome.
And I really enjoyed it. And it's put
Oh,
another...
you're meant to watch all of the whole matches. This is a
You
wrestling
know-
review show.
That is
I
part...
just speed
Yes.
through them all.
But part of our ruling is you don't look at your phone to message anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there was none of that. Yeah, I had a thoroughly good time. There were some great moves. I liked Alex being a dork on the outside. I'm hoping we're going to get Orange Cassidy versus Alex at some point, because I think that'll be a great comedy match. That can just be silly. Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be a C overall in the rankings. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm glad. I think Trent might just be a bit rusty after being off with his pec for a while. And that's not to put either one of them down, you know, and there's always a language barrier.
That may also be the other reason why I got a B, because I've missed Trent. So there might have been a bit of that in it as well.
They're emphasising his question mark now as well.
Oh,
Correct.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that. Yeah, I meant
Because
to...
they were playing down his question mark originally, and now they're actually playing into the, you know.
Yeah, I meant to mention that when I did my Penta versus. Moving on from there, Pinnacle interview. Thoughts?
Wardlow talk. He's all right. He's not bad. God, he's handsome.
I liked it's Silk Season MJF, which I've liked. Get out new scarf.
This had some really big 80s energy, and I really liked it. Well, MJF did his own Rosie O'Donnell reference, because, you know, if you own the insult before it's done to you, you can't be heard. The speed list of popular people was great. Building up to his anger after... I really liked this. I thought this was a really good promo, and I actually gave it an A.
Good.
It's a Raiden for me.
Ooh, this is going to be interesting.
When Wardlow isn't on screen, all other characters should be asking, "Where's Wardlow?"
That's Gallows. How dare you?
I like both of them equally. They're both great. Yeah, it was solid. It was what I wanted from these guys. They actually look like professional wrestlers used to in the 80s. You know, they turn up in suits and stuff like that, not just be, you know, dressed in, you know, home clothes and stuff. It actually looks a lot better for Big Dime's heels. Yeah. I enjoyed this. They know where their money is. MJF talking. Solid. It's high B for me.
Oh, high B, Morg.
So, we...
Hated it.
This is a... Didn't hate it.
Just
thought this was a weak MJF promo. It was very 80s. And I may be coloured here because of the Raptors' opinion. Because I was like, yeah, it's a good 80s, but it's a B. It's a solid B. It's standard MJF. And then the Raptor was like, I didn't think that was a very good MJF promo. And she doesn't have the 80s sort of reference to go with. She was like, what? It was quite weak for him. It was all right. It was he's a good talker, but it didn't grab the attention. And I afterwards I was kind of like, yeah, I think I kind of agree. So yeah, it only got a standard B from me, I'm afraid.
That's all right. I get it, you know, where there's a certain retro thing he's doing and he's having to talk for an entire group. So
the issue that
he can't just come out and call people virgins and say they play computer games and that's sad anymore. He's got to
actually build a story arc, you know.
Hopefully he wins her back next week, the next show. Wednesday.
Following on from that, Shida and Tai promo. All right, nice little video package.
Told you what this was all about.
I just wrote down, please just do subtitled promos.
It would be better.
Yeah.
It would show their, you know, passion and whatever better.
Which is quite amusing because if you pay attention to what you've just done with Penta,
yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Go either way. Just neither of them can get the correct intonation they would in their native languages across it, as well as you know, from English. Basically, a Japanese person shouting in Japanese is always going to be a lot more impressive with subtitles because you'll feel the tone of their voice as opposed to them. And angry Brazilian, Spanish, you know, South American, Latino languages sound fucking wicked when you've got some fire behind them. Embrace it.
Yeah, one of the best things Dubsy did with Oscar was stop her cutting. If they just had her cut her promos in Japanese, and she just came across as really aggressive and worked really well.
Yeah, I got you.
You got to respect your audience's intelligence enough to be able to, you know.
Yes. And it always, I know we always go back to it. It always worked in Lucha Underground.
Exactly that.
Moving on from there, Tai Conti versus Hikaru Shida for the Women's Championship. Shida wins with the katana. Thoughts and scores on the match?
Right, here we go. I quite like the fact they were announcing how long Shida's been the champion for, with a total match record of 2 singles matches on
this
the
year.
21st day of April. God, she's impressive. She's won 2 matches. This is a weird one for me. So we get a bunch of good strikes off at the start, which I like. Then the trip off was a little clumsy, but as somebody who did judo, I like that because that's actually what it's like.
They were actually fighting for it, so yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We've got some good chemistry in the ring. We've got some nice submissions. For the break, it was all Shida again. That gets a little bit dull. And Shida was actually forced to be a little bit heely. We saw a bit more brutality. We get a good comeback from Conte. Still not a fan of some of Tay Conte's moves. She did a weird corner shoulder thing, which looked terrible. Whereas Shida's spine slam on the corner looks fucking wicked. Tai KO is bad. We almost hit my kick out limit. And then Shida won with the katana, which I also think looks bad. So this match, it was weird for me because it was a weird match at times, and at other times it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, oh, this is really good. Then I'd be like, oh, yeah. Oh, this is good. So I gave it a C again. It wasn't consistent enough for me to rank it higher than that, but it wasn't bad. That's my thoughts anyway.
Enough. I gave this a B. I thought that it was solid enough to get across the border for that with, the AEW's women's division. It's getting a lot better, but this was still very high standard for this. I could see this being a guy match and rating it a B there also. It had a few bad spots, but otherwise I kind of enjoyed it. Like, I hate some of their moves, like the Taikeo and the katana. Is it the katana?
It is the katana, yeah. It's
nice.
Tamashi is so much better.
But why name... It's like calling your move a claymore. It's terrible naming.
But it should be called the Jutsu Strike, technically, because that's what she's representing. But let's not go too complicated for the audience.
The claymore
We're Boo
be
Matthew
called,
Strange.
The claymore should actually be called the I cocked it up the first time I did it.
Lad.
Because that's actually what happened.
Yeah,
he has
mate.
admitted it.
Single foot drop kicks look great. Go on, Morg. What did you think? You're the decider.
So I was about to say, looks like normal service has been resumed because I've been captain positive. Yeah, I gave it a B. I really enjoyed this. It was a good match. Yes, there was a couple of moments. I thought some of Ty's strikes were really solid, though. There was some good hard hitting offense from Ty. We have that good sound. And yeah,
we love her for.
Overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this. And Ty is coming along so far, and I'm glad she's in that upper levels. As for Shida's win-loss, I don't actually have that much of a problem with it because I think your champion.
It's fine.
Having
Just don't tell me it's badass.
Yeah, but it's.
Say that having a long reign is good if you don't defend the belt,
Well, I also like the fact that, the belt not being overly defended, I think makes it feel more special. The only problem is you have to have all your championship belts in that particular, under that rule, if that makes sense. So it feels special when they are defended.
Well,
especially after she was like,
but
she was
should
like,
have had
I'll
more
fight
matches.
everyone.
Yeah.
She'd just been like, come and fight me. I'm the champion. I have great heart. I'm like, you've only had 2 singles matches this year.
It's because they've only had 2 people that can be really
you've
good
had
matches.
Like 70 fucking tag matches. Come on. Does nobody want to fight you? No, everybody's injured or out.
So moving on from there, Miro promo. Thoughts?
Solid.
He said emo face paint daddy, and I laughed. I didn't rank it because it was so short, but emo face paint daddy got me pretty badly, if I'm honest.
I like Miro saying, I'm going to come for whoever.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a belt off one of you.
It's
solid.
It's almost a shame he's not a face, because then he could have challenged the Young Bucks.
We're getting close to my favourite promo line of the night.
Is it in the next
Sorry,
bit I'm about to mention now?
It's not. It's in the bit afterwards.
All right. So, Inner Circle in-ring interview. Thoughts?
It was all right. Could have been more concise. We got to see a bit of everybody on the mic, except for Ortiz, who didn't speak. Blessed Santana with his big dad energy. Yeah, it was all right. They said it's on May 5th, Blood and Guts, about 72 times, and that did great on me. I think it's... Go on.
That I see now. I liked that because talking about going back to sort of that 80s style, that is the old classic. That is what you do. You talk the people into the building. You sell the pay-per-view, and so I liked that. You keep hammering it home.
Oh, you see, having we often watch Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares and a variety of Gordon Ramsay shows, and it's often said that he would kill me. Because when he's like, the salmon's raw, it's fucking raw, it's raw. I'd be like, is it raw, Gordon? Is it raw? Should I overcook it or should I get on my... That's how I felt a bit with this. I was like, is it on May 5th? Is it Blood and Guts?
Yeah,
he said it in every sentence about 10 times. That being said, I did enjoy the overall presentation. I do think they give Jericho a bit too much time at times. It was still good. I still gave it a C.
I think
knows a lot of rankings.
I think you've got that issue of you've got MJF being the talker for the Pinnacle, but we're already proving that Santana's a really good talker as well and actually can hold himself on the mic. And we know Sammy's a really good talker. I think the Inner Circle have an advantage over the Pinnacle in that they've got more better promo guys. They've got obviously one of the best, one of our top promo guys, both groups, but you've got the other guys have been training with Jericho longer.
Do you boys have anything to add to my amazing review of I Like Santana?
I think it's a C. I think it wasn't by far not the best one that they've done. It was a bit pondering, but you know, it got the job done. It's a C.
Yeah, it was a C. Yeah. Quickly on the case of Gordon Ramsay, my response would be, "Fuck off! You're a failed footballer, and your recipes don't fucking work." That comes from when we tried to do one of his recipes in the kitchen, and it did not fucking work. No matter what. And that was 3 really good pastry chefs and me, a shit pastry chef, who could not get this recipe to work. I have no time for Gordon Ramsay. He is everything that is bad about chefs.
No, Rick Stein. Stein's the best.
I am totally with you.
Days.
Totally with you. Right. This sounds
Welcome
like
to our chefing podcast.
This sounds like
you're losers. You need to like the drama of Big Times Ramsay.
So, moving on. A Go-Go and QT promo. Thoughts?
Hey, I am now a Anthony Go-Go fan after the lineups. As a true Englishman and a true Brit, I hate it here in America. I laughed about that for so long I had to go back and watch it. I was like, that is some big 80s, 90s British heel power.
It's great.
With this fucking Union flag over his shoulder. Fucking brilliant. I loved it. I didn't rank it because it was so short and it was obviously more just like a build to this match, but it made me fucking laugh.
What I do like about his Brit character, his I hate America and I'm just here for money, is the fact is he's actually a fucking badass. So he's not a pompous Brit. He's like a proper... They've gone a bit more for the... the thug. And I was thinking more the sort of the gangster feel, the snatch and lock stock feel.
He may be like the Dark Order and Hangman. I wasn't sold on him originally, but I get the feeling he might win me over.
Oh, he's a lot better now. He's not on commentating, and he's just being a thug. He's perfect for that role. He's great.
He's not my favourite member of the stable because he's not average 16-year-old schoolboy Nick Comoroto, but he's doing well.
So moving on, Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall with Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto. QT wins with the Diamond Cutter after a Go-Go interferes, and then QT attacks Billy and Dustin for the save. Thoughts and scores on the match?
Want me to go through the ending as well in my little rant of rage you're about to get?
Yeah, do the whole thing in one.
Cool.
Obviously, I start off really positive. Billy comes out. The fucking Gun Club music is a banger.
Can I just say one thing? Billy Gunn has 17 wins under his belt and no losses. Why isn't he in the AEW?
Really? Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yep, I know.
So why isn't he in the championship? He has 17 wins and 0 losses.
Fucking hell. Anyway, back onto this. A solid brew. I was really looking forward to this match. These two had chemistry in the ring. Great strikes from Billy. Good stuff. We had a section of the guns and the other factory people being a bit dubsy-dub on the side. There was a pile driver that made me think that might have broke Billy's neck at one point because his head went off to the side. But otherwise, I was fucking excited to this. It was great. Everything looked cool. And then it ended. It fucking ended. And Dustin Rhodes runs out. Our friend Zach, who's now been watching wrestling for about this year, I'd say.
Yeah.
Do you know he hasn't seen Dustin lose?
Oh no! Why would he have seen Dustin lose? Dustin doesn't lose.
Dustin doesn't lose.
Dustin comes out with his fucking shark mouth on, hits a man with a rope. Didn't even realize it had a bell on the end for a while. And then I was like fucking roid rage Bob Ross, average 16-year-old schoolboy. Nick Comoroto gets in the ring and Dustin smashes a wooden chair over his head and he no-sells it. And I was like, now comes the beatdown. You know, this is what happens. He no-sells that. He beats you down. He looks badass. No, they ran up and separated them. And fucking Dustin's Postman Pat music starts playing.
Yeah.
Why is he? He didn't win the match. The match was ruined by Shanat. This was an overbooked piece of
dusty shit.
Dusty shit. I gave it a D and I hated it. I wanted that match. The match had so much potential. They had chemistry. They're both good wrestlers with great
Also, I don't feel that QT should be wrestling. I feel that QT should just be like, you know, sort of lording it over people with his goons out more.
I think Billy got it from because QT slapped him in the promo on Dark Elevation.
Fair. No, that is fair, but I still would prefer it that way. Agogo looks dimes in that suit I had written down when he came out. I enjoyed this match until similar feels to yourself. And then my notes just turn into Dustin must win written across everywhere. Like big writing over an A4 side of paper. And then it just has Big Dick Nick with the save.
He is Big Dick Nick.
But, yeah, this was awful. I hate him. I hate him so much.
He seems lovely on behind the scenes.
He does. He's a lovely man, and I hold nothing against him as a human being. But as a wrestling character, I hate him. And I don't want to see him. If Nick Comoroto had just pummeled him, absolutely pummeled him,
and we could have a vengeance story.
He could have been built up, and then Dustin would have come back and saved the day after he recovered from this beating, you know? But no, he has to stand tall, always. Fuck off.
Right, Morg, save this one with positivity.
So I was well down on this when Dustin came out. It was the no-soul chair shot that I liked, because he got the chair and I was like, oh, fuck's sake. And then he hit Nick Comoroto with it. Nick Comoroto just sort of stood there and I was like, okay. Yeah, I like that. I don't care about pull-aparts. So that didn't bother me. Now you've mentioned it, yes. But they're obviously trying to keep them apart until they have the match.
That's all of Dustin's feuds, though.
Yeah, and then he'll win. It's obviously going to be a bull rope match against QT, which is a Rhodes family traditional match. So
it
therefore,
is, and they never lose them.
Yeah, therefore, that's the end of the factory.
Great, you made this great Tony Soprano type heel with all these big nuts, cool baddies with him, and let's just bury him for Dustin. Fuck off.
So moving on from there, Elite promo.
Finally, some good fucking shit.
Good fucking wrestling.
Shall I do the whole thing in this?
Yes, let's just go through the whole thing.
So Elite promo, then Mox and Kingston run a truck into the Elite's trailer, and over to you guys.
I want to say, first of all, Gallows was desperate for Anderson to sit on his knee through the whole of this promo. He kept tapping his knee and looking at him.
Make it weird. This was actually a very traditional NJPW Bullet Club style. That's what their old stuff used to be like, because you don't get promos and sections in NJPW. You basically do it yourself. And them just sat about shit talking is very much what they used to be like. It's just you'd have had Tama there. The horns just being in the background before they realised was actually good pacing. And I think Cody could take letters in ramming from Moxley, couldn't he?
Moxley just fucking nailing that truck, not giving a fuck, lad.
I'd probably have left the lights on in the spare trailer, so when they ran round to the door, it wasn't obviously all off in there. But, you know, you've got to allow a slip. I love the two of them together. I like Moxley throwing the bar and Eddie having to dodge. I only gave it a high B. I think arguably I could give it an A in my...
it's an A.
It's wonderful. It had big, not only Attitude Era energy, it combined the energy of Dubsy Dub, Attitude Era, and NJPW. It was wonderful.
I would like to say my favorite quote from this was Moxley going, "Please stop stealing other people's shoes." Midway through this to him, because Kingston was obviously going to steal those expensive trainers from earlier, which was great. I'd like to mention how oily Gallows was during this. He was so oily.
Ruth commented on how shiny he was. She was like, why is he oiled up for a promo? And I'm like, because it's Gallows.
I really enjoyed this. This made me smile because it was fucking bollocks. And this is what I want to see from my angry twat face characters. I thought they were great, and it was an A from me.
Only an A? Is that all you're giving it?
Are you rolling it up to an S, Morg?
No. I was. This was so. As I said before, I mean, I got to watch I got back into wrestling just as the Attitude Era happened. This was. You want to make John Moxley into Stone Cold? This is how you make John Moxley into Stone Cold. This is. So there was a lot of shit in the Attitude Era. There was a lot of crap.
Oh God, yes.
Big time Russo!
And then there was stuff like Austin in a truck. And this was when I heard the horns going, I'm like going, oh, this is going to be this. And then it's those two thugs, babyface thugs coming in and doing their bit about, oh, you're all scared now because, you know, you can do your Ponzi stuff in New Japan. You know, we're here to ram your truck and we've got iron. But this was great. It was a high A. I really enjoyed this. This was just classic, old school, good Attitude Era.
Very wrestling.
Yes,
very wrestling.
So following on from that, Taz joins the commentary. Will Hobbs versus Christian Cage. Christian wins with the kill switch. Thoughts and scores?
Oh, actually, really good. Maybe not really good, but good. I had a good time. It's good, is what I'm saying. I really enjoyed Cage having to outthink Hobbs. They actually showed a balance of brain versus brawn. And whenever Hobbs got the advantage, he had the fucking advantage. And Hobbs has got a lot better. At the start, we loved him because of his massive spinebuster and superhero gimmick. Now he's got some fucking good cardio on him. It's really good. There was a brutal slam into the bottom rope, which I've never seen as a move, where Hobbs just grabbed Christian and just went, he just flew into it. This match had some top-tier man throwing in it. Obviously, we know Christian's good. He's got that very classic veteran wrestling style that we see in people like Kaz, Christopher Daniels, that sort of thing. Hobbs has got the best spinebuster in at least the AEW, and you can fight me. Tens is good, but he doesn't get that full spin hang.
No, he gets a proper arm spin on it. Also, JR, I didn't remember what a fucking spinebuster was.
Oh, is that... I still don't like Christian's finisher. I think the setup's a bit awkward, but it does look like a slam. Once again, not a lot to say. I just enjoyed it. It was a solid, good match. Showed a bit of, brains versus brawn, and I gave it a C. It was good.
Yeah, it was solid, this match, man. I don't have much to say about it. It shows how well Will Hobbs has come along, because like you said, he only had 2 moves when he joined AEW, but now he's got a full repertoire and can go.
Oh, he's got to push you onto a rope and throw you over there as well as spot.
Yes, but he's not gassed instantly as well. No, like the Ultimate Warrior. He can do a whole match now as well. He's great. It just shows how well they'll take talent and make them better in this company, But yeah, it was a solid C from me. I enjoyed it. I think it did well for Christian and it did well for Hobbs. I think it elevated Hobbs up to a higher level. What do you think, Morg?
So, in answer, firstly, to Christian's finisher, I've always hated the Unprettier. I will not call it a kill switch. I'm actually stating it because the Unprettier is just such a better name. I appreciate why you can't use it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've always thought it's a bit of a... But I liked the fact it came out of nowhere. He'd weathered all this. Yes, I think Hobbs is good, and I think Christian is proving his his outwork everyone. It isn't about outworking everyone. It's pulling anyone to a good match. And if he keeps doing this with like the newer guys, because I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys or mentioned it just to the Raptor the other week when Christian in his promo turned around and went, "I'm not here to put over the young guys. I'm here to win championships." And I thought the second he said it, I'm like, "You're totally here to put over the young guys." That is just the best way to make you putting over the young guys even better. I thought both of them walked away. Hobbs walked away looking like an absolute monster. And Christian looked like the cerebral babyface wrestler. No stupid baby faces yet again. It only got a C. It was just a solid match.
It was good.
But yeah, it was good, and I was worried about this match. I will be honest.
Christian seems to be doing what we used to rely on Cody to do, of just take somebody who's sort of an up and coming, you know them, but they're not quite at the top yet, and is having a good match with them, where it doesn't matter if they lose.
To be fair, Christian is doing what Christian has always done, and but it is.
Yeah,
exactly,
but nobody remembers Christian.
Yeah. So moving on from there, Jade Cargill promo package.
I don't remember.
She doesn't need a manager.
Okay,
I quite liked it opening with managers trying to recruit her. I think it's a good thing. She's still not great on the mic, but she's getting there. Obviously, she's a body person. Fine. Not a bad idea for her. I don't need a manager. I'm the fucking She-Hulk. Yes, you are.
Right.
Yes, you fucking are. Eat them. Eat them, Jade.
Moving on from there, Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin with Sting for the TNT Championship. Darby wins with the Last Supper. We'll go into the shenanigans that came afterwards. What did you think of the match?
Shenanigans.
What score did you give the match?
I think we're going to have a split in differences here, because I heard Muir being cynical beforehand. And I've got this down as probably the best match of the night. I love the fact they both do wrestling. It was wonderful. Yeah. And it was good wrestling. It got chopper. They had some chopper. Once again, listen to our WrestleMania review for me screaming about please learn to wrestle. Darby did a sell when Jungle Boy hit him with an elbow. He just folded at the knees and went down. We got the best things from two of them. A lot of high-speed, high-impact exchanges. We got the over-the-top fucking pop stunner thing, which is great. We got some rope stuff and some rope work and a little bit of fucking brutality. We didn't really need the Sting and Luchasaurus spot. This is a criticism. We had it in the last thing when they took on the Dark Order. It was like, 5 got in the way of a move. And Sting's like, I'll fucking kill you. He got up a little bit off Luchasaurus, and Sting is like, we have to fight off now. It's like, it's not really worth it, mate, is it? Sting is less coming across as a defending vigilante / champion. There's more
an overprotective, hovering dad.
Yeah, exactly. We got a Rolling Romero, though. I fucking love a Rolling Romero special. I think the Last Supper is a cool roll-up. Is it a pin or a submission? I can't remember off the top of my head. Either way,
it's a submission.
It's a submission. Oh, sorry.
No. You're right. No, I'm wrong. You're right. It's a rolling weird pin. Yes, it looks like
it looks like a submission, but it is a pin.
Yeah.
I enjoy a fancy pin. I like the mousetrap. I like this. I like a bit of technical work thrown in, and the fact that Darby shows he is indestructible, brutal, but can wrestle.
Yeah.
And Jungle Boy's the same. He's got the snare trap. He does a lot of technical moves, a lot of chopper, but he also does a lot of high spots. Really good match. I gave it a B. I really enjoyed this. My match of the night.
Yeah, I think it probably is the match of the night, but I don't know. My favourite part was Darby actually having some really good face paint on. Someone had actually spent some time doing his face paint, which was nice.
+1 face paint. His dad did it before he went out.
His dad did it. I'm just getting a bit tired of the Sting Darby thing. I think Darby doesn't need Sting. I think that he'd be better without him. But
I like them together, but we don't need this Sting spot in every match he has.
Yeah.
He can carry himself.
Yeah. He's indestructible. We know this from his story for 2 years. It was solid enough. I just didn't care, I think was my issue. I think this is more on me than anything, but just didn't care about it. I knew Darby was going to win. I was just like a bit down on it. So maybe it's more on me, but I only gave it a high C for myself.
So, I'm with you, Neil.
Oh!
High C. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
This is rare.
I
Sorry,
think-
boys. I'm not used to being the positive one. Fuck.
I think
It's fine.
I think I enjoyed the women's match more out of the two.
I mean, you're wrong on that.
I enjoyed. It was a good match. It was solid. It was a high C. It's a C/B. I think this may have suffered from that age-old problem, though. When I saw it was going to be Darby versus Jungle Boy, I thought that I was going to get the kind of match that I was going to give an A to. So I think that affected it a little, as we've had this happen before in AEW, where we've been hoping
one thing.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be massive amounts of, there'll be that little wrestling spot at the beginning, then we'd have massive amounts of ridiculous flippy shit, and I just don't think there was enough ridiculous flippy shit for me.
Oh, you see, whereas I've gone back to my route of men chopping each other and grabbing each other by the face. I get it.
So following on from that, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page attack both
he do?
Darby and Jungle Boy, and then Lance Archer for the save.
Jake, like, in the background.
Yeah, I think I like it. It's getting close to make. If Lance would actually turn or not turn,
I think they're going to keep him as like some basically uncontrollable tweener juggernaut. I think his job is to punch people who are doing too well, be them face or heel.
Yeah.
My main thought on this is I just wrote in big letters, I love the Ego's Edge so much. I think it might be my favorite finisher. Just because it's just a man throwing another man from his shoulders. And they always go so high and just fly down. I like
Ramon. I even get it called the Racer's Edge.
Otherwise, I like Team Ego. I do think they'll be better as higher upper mid-cardy people.
So here's a question for you. Should they be the ones to... So this is something that me and the Raptor took before I have my comment about Lance. Should Team Ego be the ones to end Chris Daniels' career? Should they be the ones to beat SCU?
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's a really good idea. Phenomenal. That's
solid.
Great. Yeah. Book that more.
Yep.
I like it.
Shad, get on it.
Yeah,
make it happen.
It's either that or the Young Bucks to become even more heelish, but I don't think the Young Bucks need it. I think those two, with the history with SCU,
definitely they need it more.
100% the correct call. That's a great idea.
So, before I watched this Dynamite, I was sitting there going, wrestling, there was nothing. This is partially the fault of watching the CM Punk match last week. There's nothing in wrestling that's really, really exciting me pulling me. And then this Lance Archer thing, and I'm sitting there going, I think I'd quite like you to act. Yeah, I'm intrigued in this story. Is he just going to turn? Is he just want Darby's championship, or are we going to get a difference? Personally, I mean, I want him to go and join Thug's Team Thug and give you your US Suzuki Goon. Los Ignables.
No, sadly, Lance is a Suzuki Goon person.
Yeah, but I think
he's too heel in his nature.
That kind of group of three, because I mean, you suddenly unveil Lance Archer. Well, then Gallows, who's the secret weapon of the Elite, has got someone who can look at him on eyeline. You know what I mean? And I think
they'd have a great match. They fought.
Yeah. And I think I'd quite.
I think they missed each other in Japan as well. I think
Lance they weren't at the same time.
I also like the idea of Lance, who's one of Mox's former opponents, teaming up with him, and then maybe they steal Cage from Team Taz, and you just have this bunch of.
I don't think Taz. Nah.
Cage has to go full face. Cage has to be a big smiley man.
Oh well, I think we're going to get Cage. I think we're going to get Cage and Cage. I think that's where we're heading.
Against Page and Page in a cage?
But I don't think we're going to get that, because I don't think we should turn Ethan Page. Oh, Diamond Dallas Page. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A special guest commentator.
About Diamond Dallas Page and Christian Cage against Brian Cage and Ethan Page in a cage.
What about Hangman Page?
Oh, fuck Hangman Page
That's what I was thinking.
I knew I was missing one. Okay. Hangman Page and Christian Cage against Brian Cage and Ethan Page, ref by Diamond Dallas Page in a cage.
In a cage, yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Fucking Shad.
Before
Big
we,
times.
before we move
It's
on to other stuff, what is our score for Dynamite using the powers of science and letter maths?
Letter maths as good as any star system. It's a high C, +1 face paint, and a shade of dust in disappointment. Yeah, +1 face paint, but dusted with dusting, shall we say? Yeah, it was a good show. It was above what we expect, but not crossing that +1 border. Like, I wasn't messaging everybody as things happened. Like, oh fuck, did you see that? I was like, oh, this is good. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It's match plus a half. It's between.
I wasn't disappointed to spend 2 hours of my day doing that.
It's not quite a full Kung Lao, but it's definitely above a Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Shall we say? It's like a Cabal, a character I really liked. He's in the film, I believe.
He is.
Swordsman who runs fast. Does he run fast?
Yes, he does. Everybody does their
Yes.
stuff. So
That's
lots of the finishes happen. There's a joke I don't want to ruin for you because if you ever played it at the arcade, you'll be like, yes, that joke is actually quite funny. No, it's to do with a move. But I don't. Anyway, no spoilers for the Mortal Kombat movie.
It's a good. It was a good show. It's a cabal of a match. Two hook swords pulling off a man's head.
So, moving on. Now's that time. Unfortunately, we don't have any questions this week. If you'd like to give us some questions, please send them to wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. WrestleOP on Facebook and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. You could give us ideas for matches you'd like us to review. You could tell us what you thought of Dynamite. You can give us stuff to be angry about. You could give us ideas for things for us to book. Or we're going to do a new segment. This is only a new segment because two of us forgot to do it this week. Top 5 promos. So this is Strange's top 5s. With heckling from me and Muir. And this week, it's Strange's top 5 promos.
Right, I can't necessarily say these promos are in correct order, and but I like to think
want to shit talk on promos.
Strange's top 5 promos in no particular order.
Well, we're going to start with the outlier, which I didn't put up there, but I do think we need to leave a special moment for any time the Ultimate Warrior took a massive amount of cocaine and just rambled.
Yeah.
Rambled about being from space, random about crashing planes. I mean, we know now that he was a terrible, terrible homophobic and racist and sexist man, but there was a certain magic about seeing a human with that much cocaine in their system. I can't say it's one of my top.
The best ones is where he overran by 15 minutes on his first WCW thing.
And the spaceman came down. Wonderful.
Fuck off.
All right, so I know when you guys do this, you will probably pick promos that are...
I'd pick half the ones you're picking, and you know I would.
All right, in 5th place, we've got the announcement of the Shockmaster.
Brilliant.
Poor Sid tries to sell it like it hasn't gone wrong. They're all there stoic as a man just fucking
hard.
In a stormtrooper mask that's got glitter on it. Sting's trying so hard. Is it Ric Flair who's with Sid? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they no-sell the end of that man's career. Yeah. And it happened. It began and ended in one footstep. Beautiful. I don't think you can have a top promo without including just that beautiful moment. From there, we're going to roll up to what is actually a video package, not a full promo. But if I was to include the entire thing, it would be about 20 minutes worth of watching.
Yep.
It was from This is actually an AEW promo, would you believe, boys?
I know which one.
It's the video package Jericho did back to Cody's video package.
That was so good.
The first championship belt. When Cody did this proper heartwarming, my mom and my wife loves me and I have to train my brother. And Jericho just got fucking Clint Bobsky references, kissing Sammy on the head like he was his wife.
It was beautiful. Random woman from the street.
Yeah, it was just... I mean, do you think that video package has been topped since AEW started? I mean, I know we've had a lot of serious ones, but...
No. I don't know.
Release the Hounds was good.
That was the one. That's the one that's sitting in the back of my mind. I was going like, there was Release the Hounds, which was just absolutely beautiful.
Me. But yes, that's the
every day
one.
I get up in the morning and drink and decide which bubbly I've got to drink. It's just great.
Tiring.
Okay, actually a real promo now for you boys. One which I think is an iconic promo that basically built a man's gimmick. It's a renowned religious number combination. It's the Stone Cold 316 promo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Solid.
That turned him from being Stone Cold, a bit of a badass, to Stone Cold, this is what we've got.
You can talk about your John 316, but Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass.
Yes, mate. And that is one of his most defining moments. It's one of the most defining moments in wrestling, promo history. It's up there with some of the best. And I'd feel remiss if I hadn't left out a proper... I mean, there is another additional proper classic to come on this list. It's on a very different scale of promo, shall we say. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't know what my top two are, I
know what your fucking top two are.
In second place.
Is it Steiner Maths?
It is, in fact, adding Samoa Joe into the mix. It's the Steiner Maths promo from
Before Sacrifice. Yeah.
This promo has absolutely everything you want in it. You've got a man with big cocaine energy, and he is shouting some bullshit. You've got little Petey Williams next to him. Dressed as him, trying to work out what the fuck he's saying.
Going on?
Maths. The beautiful maths that actually makes sense if you work through it. But Scott Steiner can't speak like an ordinary human because there's too many steroids and cocaine in him. And you take your 50% and take away my 33 1/3. He rips on Kurt Angle. He rips on Samoa Joe. He calls himself a genetic freak. The interviewer doesn't know what the fuck he's going on about.
God.
He doesn't even say the Big Papa Pump classics of "you're fat" or "I'm going to sleep with your wife." Those are out. He's too focused on the math, and he's there. And indeed, at the end of it, it did spell disaster.
For him at Sacrifice.
Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me. Your chances drastically go down.
Fucking ludicrous.
I honestly must watch that promo about once a month, if not more. It's the ultimate fusion between being like that Sid Vicious idiot promo where they'd be like, "Go on, Sid, say some things," and people would laugh at him.
Yeah.
But with the confidence of the Ultimate Warrior. But there's a mind in there somewhere. He'd obviously thought about those numbers and memorized them like they weren't written on his hand or anything.
No,
he's staring. He wrote and memorized that like a theatre student. And yeah, he slips up a bit. And yeah, it doesn't make the most amount of sense. But
it's hilarious.
It's wonderful. In first place, my favourite wrestler. I would argue the wrestler who should have pushed the rise from the classic era to the Attitude Era. The best showman in all of wrestling. The best performer who combined everything from stage show to bit of raw cocaine power to just phenomenal charisma. It's the Macho Man Randy Savage with the cream of the crop promo.
Where does he keep getting those creams from? Where does he keep getting the cream from?
He pulls out 5 hidden pots of cream in this one. Technically, it's only 4. You see one of them he takes one of them back out of Gene. Gene Oakland, obviously renowned for not taking shit from wrestlers, and that's one of the reasons he's respected. He brings up the story. He references his opponent, Ricky the Steamboat Dragon. You've got great things like, Miss Elizabeth is at ringside. Does she interfere with matches? Sometimes, yeah. He's just great. He points a finger at President Jack Tunney of the World Wrestling Federation. Just the cream of the crop. It balances it on, balance off, balance on. Better than you, yeah. It flows. I love the Macho Man. I think the Macho, he combines everything that have been in these previous promos. This promo is one of the most cited top promos. It shows his character. It leads into that feud that we watched some of the best on Nick's best matches choices. It's got some comedy bullshit. It's got big cocaine energy, but it's coherent. He hits all of the plot points, but all you're watching is this man in a set of madness shades and a fucking bollocks t-shirt pulling little pots of cream that he obviously just grabbed from cocaine from the kitchen in a cocaine-driven fit. And he does this in all of his promos. There's the one where he's got the dustpan and the brush. He's like, I'm going to sweep him up. One where he just shows up with a bin and he's like, into the trash you go. And he does it just with a random prop going on about how he is the best, the cream of the crop, of course, rising to the top, be he on balance or off balance. He explains the story, and at the end, you've just watched this experience of this crazed performer, and it's beautiful. And if you guys can find a better promo than that, when I force you to do this next week after you've forgotten, I'm just going to disagree with you, if I'm honest. I'm going to be like, no, you're wrong. It's the best promo of all time. It's never been defeated.
I can actually do my top 5 probably off the top of my head.
I'm just going to shout random promos at the end once Morg's done it.
Hey, mate, you guys have to do 5 minutes of your own next show. I've got yeah, go on.
Well, I can do my top 5. We'll do the obvious one first. Is the pipe bomb.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah,
we've been there, we've done that. Just because of how important it was. You've already covered the Austin 316 promo.
Yeah,
you can't leave it out, can you?
No, I can't have that. A weird one is a Kurt Angle and John Cena promo that I absolutely adore, and it is one of my all-time favourite promos.
Is it when he's a sexy Kurt?
No.
You're not taking sexy Kurt off me.
It's not. You can have that one. It's against John Cena, and it's the snap of Kurt Angle's character. He's playing an absolute dorky guy. He's got his hat on backwards because John Cena's doing the rap gimmick, and he just turns around and he's like, I'll give you your mad props and all this. And he says something to Cena, and Cena goes, you say that, and and Kurt just turns around and looks him in the face and goes, you're what? You will watch. It's so good. Then the other
I miss Kurt.
is The Rock and so it's a toss up between. There's 2 for this one, and I can't because I have to have my number 1. Which is actually another classic promo. So it's a toss-up between The Rock and Jericho stealing each other's catchphrases, which is a hilarious promo because I'm pretty sure they corpse each other, and that Jericho does The Rock's moving his head thing that he used to do before he lifted the eyebrow, but does it so over the top and silly you can see The Rock is so close to corpsing. Or it's
they love being together.
The Rock's Armageddon promo when he does impressions of the other 5 guys in the match. That is a hilarious, great Rock
I think I've
promo.
seen that one.
Oh, you should go and look it up. He does The Undertaker, Kane, Austin, Jericho. I think Jericho's in that match. He does Rikishi, he does Austin, and he does Triple H. And it's really, really good. But probably the
Rock's
number 1 from the classic.
I was going to say that.
Go on.
I'm doing it. The Rock has got that same thing as Jericho and Macho Man, who obviously I forgot about. They've got big performer energy, not just wrestler energy. They've got that. I mean, one became an actor, one went on, one's a singer, and the other one went on the Arsenio Hall show and said he wasn't racist. Big energy. Like, Macho Man was a interview man on shows. Sorry, Morg. And I'm complimenting your choice.
Probably my number 1 is actually Dustin Rhodes. And it's the classic, it's this hard times promo. I love that promo. And I'm not a fan of the older style promos, but that promo is just so good. I've dined with kings and queens and I've lived on pork and beans. I really enjoy that promo. But yeah, that's trying to find, and it was a struggle to find another one that slots. I can't not have the Austin promo in there.
No. I'm going to write down what I predict some of Muir's are going to be. I hope there's a meme off 4chan.
Can you throw 5 out quick then, Muir?
Okay, Sexy Kurt, where because
God.
I love this. It makes me laugh every time I hear it. It's Kurt Angle redoing Shawn Michaels' theme song, but about himself, calling himself a sexy Kurt, and he'll make your ankle hurt, and just other bollocks like that, and it always makes me laugh.
Kurt's wonderful.
When Kurt Angle was Vince McMahon's toady, and Austin suddenly turned sides, and then they're both like playing off each other.
Is it the
That's
cowboy
another
hats?
One of my
Is it
I know
the
it's
cowboy
not
hats?
the little tiny cowboy hats and all that bollocks.
I welcome to Nick Muir's favourite 5 Kurt Angle promos.
Whoa, now. My other 3 off the top of my head were Macho Man level, cream of the crop, and other promos. I had hard times for the history of it, including Ric Flair and his classic promos of styling, profiling, wheeling, dealing, fucking jet flying,
kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, jet flying.
Yeah. And I had Steiner Maths because I fucking love that promo as well.
You take 63 1/3.
But basically, I like anything where a wrestler can make me laugh because I prefer the performance side of wrestling as much as I do love a good wrestling match. If you can do zany comedy for me, you'll make me laugh normally.
I'm going to give a weird throw out of I thought whilst we were going through this. The Triple H interview with JR after his punishment period, where he first said, "I am the game." After he'd been shit on by the WWE because of the curtain call.
Shit. Okay, I'll take back the Austin one.
Because
you already did it. No, because you've just reminded me of probably my other top 5 promo. It is the Mick Foley anti-hardcore ECW promos that are generally regarded by most wrestlers as being some of the greatest promo work ever.
Where he turned on them and just stopped doing hardcore stuff, Yeah.
Mick Foley's anti-hardcore promos, the ones to Tommy Dreamer.
I'll have to look those up because they
are legendary. So, if we remember it for next week, maybe we do our who is the greatest promo guy of all time?
Remember, it's Macho Man.
It's The Rock.
Greatest
I will
promos.
not fight you because you are younger and fitter than me, but it's The Rock.
Now we'll find something else to discuss than promos again.
Yeah, we'll
write these down when we discuss this on the radio show because I'm a fucking professional who forgets to do the other half of what he's meant to do. You have a radio show like the 1950s.
It's all right. I have next week's discussion in the back pocket, and it was what I was going to do this week.
Excited, listeners. Morg's ready.
So, there you go. That's our show. I'd like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. If you want to find us, we are Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
I haven't thought of any stupid Stardom comments to make this week, so I'll keep it short. Thank you very much for listening. It's been good fun, as always. If you want to send in any questions or anything you'd like to talk to us about, please feel free to send in to wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, or WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
Hi there. Have you enjoyed this podcast? If not, why not give us a little like? Hit a little bell icon. Hit a little 5 stars. I know it's on the other podcast. Click share. Show your friends. Why don't you write, if you're listening on YouTube, write a little... On Pigeon Mail. Oh, if you're listening on YouTube, write a little comment about what your favourite promo is. I'll tell you you're wrong. It's the cream of the crop promo. Or write down cream of the crop just to enforce me. But yeah, cheers for listening. Like, share, subscribe, bell, comment, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. Back to you, Morg.
So all that's left to be said is if you're a sexy Kurt, then you must smell what the Macho Man is cooking.